Quite the show. Hello, good evening, and welcome. You've just entered the arena. I'm Michael Coren, and yes, it was a repeat show last night. I got a few emails, so let's come clean. Forgive us, we had some technical issues. I fell off my chair, or something like that. It usually takes a very long time for the establishment media and the chattering classes to come to terms with the entirely obvious. Yes, it's finally been revealed that there is a mosque in Toronto receiving huge amounts of money from Saudi Arabia. And the leaders of that same mosque support extremism, intolerance and hatred. When Sun News went to the mosque to interview people, a supporter of the religion of peace threatened our reporters and said he would smash his camera. Look, I interviewed Ali Hindi, the man in charge of this place, many times on my old show. Of course, he's an extremist. But also, of course, he has huge support in the Islamic world. Also, of course, there are myriad university departments, mosques, schools, organizations, all over the Islamic diaspora financed by Saudi Arabia and intent on power and control. I mean, where do you think the money comes from? Where do you think the tens of millions of dollars come from? Selling cookies? Running bake sales, individual donations of a few dollars? No, that's how those awful Christians raise money, not the lovely Muslims. Do you remember, for example, the University of Toronto student who repeatedly posted on the internet that Canadian soldiers should be killed in Canada so that they cannot fight in Afghanistan? I quote from the dear fellow, "Any and all Western soldiers getting prepared to enter Muslim nations should be legitimate targets by any and all Islamic militants. If there were any planned attacks against Canadian-American soldiers by Muslim militants in Canadian soil, I'll support it," wrote Salman Hussein, hello Salman, while enjoying an education heavily funded by public tax dollars, your money. He went on to write that, quote, "I enjoy watching the blood flow from the Western troops, and when do I get to shoot a few Jews down? Why effing target the Americans when the Jews are better?" He continued that a, quote, "mass casualty attack in Canada would be fantastic and would get the job done," and so on and so on. The Jews are the most evil people in the world and have to be killed. North American troops have to be slaughtered. Canadians have to pay. Islam is great. Muslims forever. Blood, guts, suffering. More blood, more evil. More dead Jews, more dead Canadians. Wonderful. Or how about the Muslim extremist who was convicted in Britain 2 years ago for planning an elaborate plot to kidnap a soldier serving in the British Army and cut his head off? The murder was to be filmed and shown on the internet. Now look, if these were unique or even isolated cases, I'd ignore them. But they're common and they're frequent. And if you doubt me, if you really still doubt me, spend some time reading websites such as Robert Spencer's Jihad Watch. Read Pam Geller's site, Atlas Shrugs, or Vlad Tepes, Gates of Vienna, 5 Feet of Fury, Blazing Cat Fur. There are dozens of others, and books and magazines and essays. Now, you'll have to search a little because, well, CBC, PBS, and most mainstream networks and their friends are too frightened and intellectually and morally jejune to show them. But truth has this habit of breaking through, just like pure and clean light shining through the cracks. A mosque in Toronto and a hideously reactionary preacher. Oh, my friends, you ain't seen nothing yet.